Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Julie Nelson.
Hi, ladies. Welcome, everybody. You all look so beautiful. You just look beautiful. Feels like spring is here, maybe even summer. We just want to say thank you so much for coming. We so appreciate all of you carving time out of your busy days. And we appreciate the fashion that you all brought to the table. You just look fabulous. Mostly, though, I just have to say, as I was driving in, the sunshine, the crabapple trees, the tulips, we have had a long, hard winter, ladies. And I kind of caught myself in one of those moments where I was like, I'm so happy right now. This is so fabulous. And then, you know, it really comes back to the thought of all of you driving from all these different places to converge in this one spot and to acknowledge that there is hope and to be willing to be part of the solution. So thank you so much for coming today. Especially on an 80-degree day. We know how valuable those are here in Minnesota. So this is actually our 20th annual Women of Hope Luncheon. I am Julie Nelson. I anchor the evening news on KARE 11, and I've been a board member at TreeHouse for a little more than 10 years. I've emceed this event so many times, and it's always a wonderful way to kick off the weekend. I always leave inspired, and I always leave hope-filled. So I'm so glad you're here today. I know you're going to have the same experience. We have more than 550 of you in the room tonight. Many of you have already checked in by scanning the QR code on the large signs in the foyer. If you haven't, if you wouldn't mind checking in now by scanning that QR code on that large silver envelope on your table, that would be great. Then we can know who's in the room. We can make you feel welcomed and support you. My girls are running late. They'll be here shortly. This is a phone call from them. We'll get back to them. Anybody else have teenagers? Okay. So grateful for all of you and so many individuals and companies that made this possible. We want to give a big, huge thank you to our presenting sponsor and a true friend of TreeHouse, Schuler Shoes. Can the Schuler Shoes table or tables raise their hands? It's really hard to express how much support Schuler Shoes has given to TreeHouse throughout the years, and especially today. They've been a faithful partner, giving in so many different ways. And I even understand that Carlos, who's going to be our speaker today, is wearing some new kicks from Schuler Shoes. So I can guarantee you this, it's fashionable and comfortable. And comfortable. Thank you, Schuler Shoes. Tradition Capital Bank, where are you? Where's our Tradition Capital Bank? Thank you so much. Diamond level sponsor today. Thank you for believing in our mission to help end hopelessness in teens. We appreciate you. And our Sapphire level sponsors, Tara and Tim Clark. I mean, talk about giving of time and their resources. Thank you so much. And the Ferber family, who's been fantastic as well. The Ferber Family Foundation, consistently standing with teens in TreeHouse. A full list of sponsors is included in your program on page 5. Please join me now in thanking all of our generous sponsors today. All right, well, as you entered the ballroom, I hope you saw the raffle prizes, each valued at up to $800, so be sure to purchase a ticket or two for a chance to win some wonderful prizes. I'm going to go through the list, okay? You can be eating if you want while I go through this list. Hoping to Hit the Beach features everything for a day in the sun, including towels, a beach bag, and a gift card to a waterfront restaurant. Restorative Hope features lovely spa and wellness products and gift cards. You don't know that your family's going to give you this on Mother's Day, so I'm just saying, buy a raffle. Get it for yourself. Planting Hope has supplies with a garden center gift card for beautifying your landscape, and Baskets of Hope features beautiful baskets filled with charming and creative home decor items. So if you haven't had a chance to purchase a ticket yet, several staff members and volunteers will be walking around. They'll make the process very easy and fun for you, and we'll draw winners at the end of the event. Now, all the money raised today will go to vital programming, creating opportunities for teens across the country to see hope on the horizon. And speaking of sparking hope, We are so fortunate to have Carlos Whittaker with us today, a true champion of hope. As a global author, a sought-after speaker, podcaster, and social media storyteller, his commitment to pursuing hope for all people intersects just perfectly with the TreeHouse mission to end hopelessness among teens. I'm looking forward to hearing from Carlos as he shares his story about his recently published book, How to Human, which is for sale in the second floor lobby along with additional titles, and he will be signing copies of those books after the luncheon. So we welcome you, Carlos. We thank you so much for being here this afternoon. There's one more group of women who are deserving of our recognition and thanks. Every year for the last 20 years, groups of women known as the Women of Hope Committee have gathered to give of their valuable resources, time, creativity, and money to create and further the mission of TreeHouse. So over the course of the last 2 decades, 75 women have served on the Women of Hope Committee, and more than 9,000 guests have participated in this luncheon. As of today, we've raised more than $5.5 million through the Women of Hope family, and most importantly, we have served 25,000 teenagers since the inception of Women of Hope. We're grateful to all of them. Let's hear now how the story began.
To see young people being transformed because of TreeHouse, and that hole in their heart is being filled. And they know that there's someone who truly believes in them and cares about them and thinks they're everything is priceless.
Lovable, capable, and worthwhile.
Exactly, right. Yes.
For 20 years, hundreds of women who share TreeHouse's passion for ending hopelessness among teens have gathered to enjoy lunch, friendship, and shared vision while hearing real stories of the transformational power of hope. This was all made possible because of a collective of passionate and driven women who chose to lean into a calling to do more, to create an event that encouraged other women to make a difference by volunteering their resources of time, creativity, and influence to create a community committed to bringing visibility to how TreeHouse is igniting hope in teens across the country.
What was the passion behind getting this luncheon started 20 years ago?
It is amazing, isn't it?
It is.
But we're still really young. We were finding that more and more kids really needed help from us. And in order to help them, we had to raise more funds and we had to raise more friends for TreeHouse. Our very first vision was that if we were going to do it, we had to do it right the first time so that it could be repeated.
And we also wanted there to be something in it for the women in the room, right? So that it would fill them spiritually, that it would fill them with positivity, and then give them a reason to go out and help somebody else, right? Which it's really been fun to watch, right? Because we start out with about 100 people in a room, and it's like they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends, and here we end up. It's not only you get deeper connection to the teens and their stories, but to want to get involved. Like, it fuels that passion and that connection to the mission to be like, sign me up. How can I give? How can I volunteer my time? Actually, getting more and more involved kind of frustrated me because you start to begin to see how big this issue is with teens. And I remember one year we had, he was a swimmer, Mark Anderson maybe, and he talked about how life is changed one person at a time. And that forever changed my opinion about how this is possible. It's possible one person at a time, helping one person at a time.
Compassion, I think, is both passion, caring about something, but also wanting to fight for teens.
How do we take that emotion and then turn it into doing?
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about all of you. I mean, you had this idea and you did something about it. That's what's so amazing. What gets you motivated to continue to tell the story, to continue to invite people to be involved?
So that we can help more.
Yeah.
In today's society, we're seeing more and more. Every teen could use help.
Thank you to all of you who continue to be champions of hope for teens through the tradition of the TreeHouse Women of Hope Luncheon. Here's to the next 20.
Man, a lot of fabulous women featured in that video. Change really does happen one person at a time, and we're so thankful to people like Carrie and Trish and Dre, everyone that's been on the Women of Hope Committee, for letting us be a part of that change. Several Women of Hope Committee members are in the room sitting among us. Many have received a single rose today as a way to honor their service and as a way to identify them. So if you see them walking around with their single rose, make sure you give them a hello and a thank you. We are deeply grateful to all of them. And now, with hearts filled with gratitude, please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, you are the creator of every person in this room, every teenager that has ever lived, and those yet to be. Thank you for being the ultimate source of unfailing hope. May every person in this room and in every TreeHouse site across the country know deep in their souls that because of you, we are all lovable, capable, and worthwhile. Be present in this room with us today. Bless this food, and please bless those who are working on behalf of you for TreeHouse. Amen. Enjoy your lunch. We'll be back shortly to start the program.
Please welcome back to the stage, Julie Nelson.
Okay, I love how women support women. I'm chatting away at my table, and the lovely ladies next to me are like, I think they just called you to the stage. So hopefully you're all having wonderful conversations and you enjoyed your lunch. It's just a room full of such fabulous people. We do want to let you know it's the last call for raffle tickets, so if you want to get yourself a nice basket, make sure that you raise your hand so the volunteers can come around and make sure you get a ticket. We'd like to thank another faithful supporter of TreeHouse right now, the Nova Restaurant Group. We just experienced how wonderful it is to share good food around a table of friends, and Nova has generously provided 2 $50 gift cards per table to use at their restaurant. So please take your programs, turn to page 5. If you find a sticker, you are the recipient of the gift card. So thank you for your ongoing generosity, Nova. Oh, and I should say, and we are, well, hopefully no fighting. All right, ladies, if we could turn our attention now to what's bringing us all together today. We all came together today for our common desire to bring hope to teens across the country. You know, in the nearly 20 years that I've been a co-anchor of the evening news at KARE 11, I've covered a lot of stories. And I know all of us in this room, we've been through a lot in the last few years. It's felt very heavy at times and very dark. It's made me even more appreciative that there is a place like TreeHouse that can help with the ongoing mental health crisis amongst our teens. New data came out last week from the Surgeon General declaring loneliness an epidemic. The advisory reported that this was the most pronounced in young people ages 15 to 24 who had 70% less social interaction with their friends than was common 20 years ago. This is how the teens' mental health landscape has changed since our very first Women of Hope Luncheon. So this past February, the Center for Disease Control released the latest findings in their National Youth Risk Behavior Survey, which they conduct every other year and have for the past 30 years. Among the most startling statistic, 57% of teenage girls felt persistently hopeless. That is the highest rate in a decade. Nearly 1 in 3 had considered suicide, an increase of more than 60% over the last 10 years. Our kids are in crisis. My Care 11 colleague Jennifer Hoff was covering that story, and I knew immediately who she had to call. I pointed her to TreeHouse to learn what TreeHouse is doing to stem this increasing tide. As a longtime friend and board member of TreeHouse, I've received a lot of education over the years about teen mental health, both from national data as well as the TreeHouse-specific surveys. Our most recent TreeHouse survey from last fall indicated 49% of our teens felt hopeless. Less than half of the teens identifying themselves as having long-term mental health issues are being actually treated for them. But that is not the end of the story. 93% of those same teens believe that a loving and trusted adult at TreeHouse cares about them. 3 out of 4 are building coping skills to navigate obstacles in life. And more than 2/3 of our teens are finding worth and purpose while moving toward a stronger and more meaningful relationship with God. And that is where the seeds of hope are planted. To tell us more from her own personal experience, she's just a phenomenal woman. I'm so honored to know her. Will you please join me in welcoming TreeHouse senior coach and trainer, Mandy Betlach.
Good afternoon. My name is Mandy Betlach, and I just marked 14 years at TreeHouse. Thank you. Thanks. Needless to say, I've been a woman of hope for a pretty long time now. As Julie noted, in February, TreeHouse was featured on Care 11 on the evening news. So, Julie, thank you for that opportunity. We really appreciate it. I was interviewed alongside one of my teen mentees. Her name is Beulah. In response to the recent CDC reports showing that sharp decline that Julie talked about. I had the privilege of sharing about the work of TreeHouse and how our programming is catalyzing change, and we need change. TreeHouse is on a mission to end hopelessness among teens because hopelessness is becoming a defining story of this generation. The teen years are defined by a search for identity and belonging and purpose. And when teens don't have positive voices speaking into their lives and circumstances, if hopelessness takes root during these critical years, it can affect the trajectory for the rest of their lives. Hopelessness is pervasive. It blocks forward movement and shows up as a tangle of lies and pain that hold people back. What we believe creates related emotions, and ultimately it guides our behaviors. And those elements are all a part of our identity. And that's why at every site in the network, we want teens to know the undeniable TreeHouse truths. And you'll hear them a ton today. They are, I am lovable, capable, and worthwhile. I am loved without strings and never alone, and I have a future. These words are said out loud repetitively at all of our sites so that the words themselves will seep deep into our teens' souls. From that posture, change happens, and growth happens from the inside out. We strive to get to the root of what teens are managing in a variety of ways. Through our core programming, we help our teens build meaningful relationships and realize their true value. Support groups often take place weekly and provide focused time when teens can give a voice to their struggles and what they're facing. It is a trusted place to practice naming and managing emotions while feeling support from peers as well as the adult leaders. It is a powerful way for teens to realize they're not alone. And there's one of our TreeHouse truths. At TreeHouse, we strive to remove barriers for participation. So most support groups and a bunch of our other programming is free and includes free transportation and a meal. When our stomachs are full, we proceed to feed our minds and nourish our souls. We enjoy games and a hangout time. We have larger group lesson, and then we break out into these support group sessions. Though facilitating support groups is a faith-neutral in design so that we can meet with teens in public schools and places in the community, the core of TreeHouse is that knowing that true and abiding hope comes from Jesus. One-to-one mentoring is another vital program at every TreeHouse site. When a teen joins TreeHouse, they have the opportunity to be connected with an adult leader who establishes a consistent and dependable mentoring relationship with them. For a number of teens, this is their favorite part of TreeHouse, since they get dedicated time one-on-one with somebody who is safe and caring. For many, this may be the only consistent and positive voice they have speaking into their lives. Mentors serve as a dedicated presence and a voice of love for our teens. It is a tangible way for teens to know and believe that they are loved without strings. And there's another one of those TreeHouse truths. It is literally woven into the fabric of everything we do at TreeHouse. There's also many additional suggested programs that we offer, and many of our sites participate in. So one is Connect Nights. They provide the opportunity to dig deeper into the example of the life of Jesus and to learn more about our God-given purpose as well as unconditional love. This program is designed to help teens develop the spiritual and personal lives and skills to grow into healthy young adults. Even though we're talking about some deep subjects, Connect Night is also a time for the teens to unwind and have fun. We invited Carlos to join us last night just down the street at our Bloomington location, where multiple TreeHouse sites came together, and we had more than 100 teens who were able to learn in community. Carlos, did you enjoy your time with us? Woo! Talked to us all about killing some spiders, and it was awesome. There's so much more for TreeHouse sites to consider. Every TreeHouse has support group, mentoring, and a faith-forward program at all of our sites. A goal that we have for every teen is to graduate from high school. And then we assist those teens in preparing for that life after high school. Through TreeHouse Next curriculum, we offer personalized coaching and mentoring to teens each step of the way, with the assistance in applying to schools, money management, financial aid counseling, resume and interview prep, and lots of other vital life skills. Throughout the year, TreeHouse provides opportunities beyond our weekly programs to really deepen friendships and for them to learn about themselves and connect with God in deeper and authentic ways through retreats and service projects and social activities. There are so many ways to invite teens into a journey for a hope-filled future. So it's not difficult to find people who agree with this idea that ending hopelessness among teens is a critical need. But not many know how to do it or how to take action, and that's where TreeHouse is answering the call. TreeHouse began right here in Minnesota nearly 4 decades ago, but as we all know, the need is significant. So for the last number of years, we've been adding TreeHouse sites to our network, county by county, state by state. We currently serve more than 3,000 teens in 13 states, and we just recently added California and Colorado. We have more than 50 sites across the country. The continued expansion of our TreeHouse network is impacting the teens more than ever before. As we expand our national footprint, all new sites receive consistent onboarding and personalized coaching and support, tried and true programming, and a large library of curriculum. Every teen experiences the same grace-based love and support, regardless of which TreeHouse they attend. Safety and unconditional love and support. That is what a TreeHouse, like a real TreeHouse, provides. So we liken it to McDonald's. They are in every state, serving a wide variety of people, and yet the fries always taste the same, consistently delicious. So whether you're a teen in New Jersey or Iowa, you can expect support group will feel the same. Arizona and Florida teens will speak the TreeHouse truths aloud with regularity, just like we do here in Minnesota. Consistency, like in most things in life, consistency is key. In my 14 years at TreeHouse, I served in a variety of roles, including area director, trainer, and coach. I've had the opportunity to fill gaps for new or transitioning sites, and in all, I've served at more than 20 different TreeHouses over the years. My unique perspective of working with different teens at different sites in different communities has helped me to see how truly TreeHouse is dependable and works. As our TreeHouse network continues to expand across the country, our direct service to teens leads to innovation and refinement of our skills and programming, which allows us to train and equip so many others. The process includes onboarding, personalized coaching, program excellence, and tried and true curriculum. Every individual or organization that becomes a part of the TreeHouse family moves through the onboarding process. How we do TreeHouse is taught in a variety of ways through this intentional process, beginning with weeks and weeks of group cohort training. Through online training modules, group discussions, and role-playing, leaders and volunteers learn from us and from each other. A vital part of training includes our TreeHouse's curriculum, which I'll briefly cover in just a moment. Every new TreeHouse site is welcomed into the family begin by being assigned a coach, like me. My fellow coaches and I have a combined 82 years of experience between the four of us running and coaching TreeHouses and working with teens. At 14 years, I have the least longevity on my team, which is so fun. As coaches, we tailor our engagement with sites by offering personalized support unique to the needs of that community. This includes doing regular check-ins, facilitating leader support group and trainings, debrief conversations, and basically walking alongside these sites as a support system. My job is to provide patient and compassionate listening. Think of it like TreeHouse for adults. We equip the adults who then in turn support our teens. All of this is done while striving for program excellence. That is one of our top priorities. As coaches, we regularly visit sites, both virtually and in person, as resources allow. We track and analyze data regarding our teens, the programs, and our curriculum at every single one of our TreeHouse sites. We also survey all of our teens twice a year, once in the fall at the beginning of the school year, and again in the spring, and use that data to assess our effectiveness and in order to build and improve our trainings and curriculum. You heard some of those TreeHouse stats earlier from Julie as she was sharing. One of the most powerful assets that we have at TreeHouse is our curriculum. When Women of Hope started 20 years ago, we saw the need to regularly document and develop our materials so it could be used and shared more broadly. Today, our full library of materials and curriculum is called TreeSources, and every new TreeHouse site is given login credentials. This rich online resource can be used anytime, anywhere. We add fresh material quarterly, allowing adults to consistently learn and then teach our programming to teens. TreeSources has more than 24 months of programming, templates, games, videos, PowerPoints, printouts, and so much more. We also develop an annual curriculum theme each year that is used nationally at all of our sites. So spoiler alert, for the 23-24 school year, our annual theme is Rooted, which will dig deeper into how teens can anchor themselves and be rooted in the living hope. Being part of the TreeHouse family means that you'll be given the tools that we know are effective, offering consistency and depth of content, yet allowing for personalization to meet the needs of our teens. TreeHouse sees the need, and we are taking action. Our goal at every TreeHouse site is to give them the tools and the confidence to reach teens effectively in their own communities and in their own unique situations, building a legacy that will come to last for generations to come. More teens, more communities, more hope.
Before I went to TreeHouse, it was like my eyes were closed, like all I could see was dark.
You know, when you think of an American teenager, they have these little parts, you know, school, they have home, their parents, your friends. Every single aspect of that was terrible. And I think the only life-saving piece was TreeHouse.
If TreeHouse wasn't here, I honestly think that I would not be here right now.
The younger generation is going through so many things. We have social media, then we are going through and have gone through a hard time, like COVID, right? Like, that was a crisis for everyone in different ways. And that causes a lot of stress and anxiety and depression, things that already may have even been present with our teens, but now are even heightened because we don't have as much socialization. or opportunities to connect in genuine ways. Our goals are to make sure that every student knows that they are lovable, capable, worthwhile, and that they do have a future.
My favorite thing are probably the talks. So the talks are both on Tuesday and Thursday. They talk about like friendships, loss, money.
Usually there is a message that is encouraging or maybe can help them to change their perspective if they are going through difficult things.
Yeah, what I find valuable is the community. You just don't have to feel alone when you're here.
You can be yourself around them without having to put on a mask.
The people makes TreeHouse what it is, and it makes it feel like another family, a second family.
We have teens from different cultures. We have teens who identify differently. It's a place where all teens, and I'm saying all teens, can come to be loved and to be accepted and to experience genuine relationships, and that is very special.
Especially because I just don't have like family at home to talk to that much anymore. I always like keep things to myself. People are like, you should like talk to people more. I'm like, people don't want to hear about me. Turns out, people do want to hear about my story, and so I'm just glad I'm here.
I go to Arizona State. I was able to buy my first car, clothes, a roof over my head. I don't know, it taught me a lot.
Before I went to TreeHouse, it was like my eyes were closed, like all I could see was dark. And in TreeHouse, it was like a beam of light. It kind of just made it so like I could see.
TreeHouse is such a loving community, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
I don't think my life would be existent if I wasn't for TreeHouse.
Hello, I'm Angie Trejo, and I'm a member of the TreeHouse family. You just saw a bit of my story in the video that we just watched together. It's true that TreeHouse was life-changing and life-saving for me. So let me take you with me as I share some of the memories of my time at TreeHouse that have affected the direction of my life. It's helpful for you to know that I am introverted at first when meeting someone new. I'm shy and I'm pretty cautious. A friend of mine a friend at TreeHouse assured me that the same grace and safety that is in the very DNA of TreeHouse would be with me today as I share my story. Being here today is a bit of a homecoming. We are just minutes away from where I grew up, where I attended high school, and where I found TreeHouse. I am the second oldest of 5 children, and as you heard in the video, it's safe to say that my upbringing was pretty challenging and inconsistent. I remember having a feeling from a very young age that I would not be alive past the age of 17, so I made absolutely no plans for the future. Why would I spend time working towards a future that I didn't believe would be mine? Then, when I was about 14 years old, my best friend invited me to join her at a youth gathering. She told me to come over to my place. They'll pick us up and we'll go check it out. She mentioned that there would be free food, and that's honestly all I needed to hear to capture my interest. Other than that, I had no idea what to expect, or that it would be changing the direction of my life. It was a spring evening when I first attended TreeHouse, and we were all gathered outside. The leaders of the Bloomington TreeHouse at the time, many of them seated with me right now at the table, brought a blender outside along with some carts that contained various odd ingredients. I don't remember the specifics of the game that we were playing, but we were playing a game. And whichever teen answered the most questions, or maybe missed the most questions, I had the opportunity to drink the most disgusting blended concoction of a smoothie. I thought it was the most hilarious thing that I had ever seen, and I just remember how fun it was and how great it felt to laugh. It was the first time that I had laughed or felt joy in so long. It was foreign, but it felt good. And that's what made me want to come back to TreeHouse again. My teenage years were the lowest points in my life, and it was joyous to come to TreeHouse. Not only joyous, but life-saving. I was going through so many challenges at the time, an unstable home life, issues at school and with friends. I felt like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So TreeHouse was a place for me to bring my mind and heart to a different place. I developed really close friendships with the other teens and built strong relationships with my mentors to help me know that I was not alone. That's a TreeHouse truth in action. I had so much fun at TreeHouse, and I experienced things that I had never had before. I was invited with other TreeHouse friends to a mentor's cabin, and I rode a jet ski for the very first time, and still the only time in my life. And wow, that was fun. Group activities and trips were sometimes service-focused. I went on a mission trip to Red Lake, Minnesota, which is an indigenous community. It was our way of helping other people, just as TreeHouse was helping us. We painted houses, and I read to little kids. It was amazing. And I never even paid $1 for those opportunities. I was always told to come along regardless. They said that they would fundraise to make it happen. I was truly wanted at TreeHouse. I remember when I told you about that free food, that was a real draw to TreeHouse. Well, let me tell you about a meal that filled me to overflowing. I had my very first American Thanksgiving meal at TreeHouse. In my Mexican-American family, it was just not something that we celebrated. I would see it on TV or in the movies, but it didn't really mean anything to me because I didn't have a reference. One year, a mentor and volunteer, Cheryl, that's her in the lower right photo, made a huge Thanksgiving feast. Turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing. I'm sure every single Thanksgiving staple was there, but I don't recall because it was all about the mac and cheese. All about the mac and cheese. I ate so much food that that night that I just sprawled out on a beanbag during group time because I was so full. I was full of food, full of joy, full of love. I was with all of my TreeHouse family, friends, mentors, laughing and having fun, playing games. I will never forget that cherished memory. My TreeHouse mentors filled me up in so many ways. They made me feel that someone out there really believes me and supports me, because in the rest of my life, it felt like my pain didn't matter to anybody. But at TreeHouse, when I was going through something hard and would bring it up in support group, they believed me. They would tell me, that does sound really hard. As a teenager, a lot of adults and parents mark us off as dramatic or hormonal. But let me tell you, some of the things that I've been through should never be experienced by a teenager. My mentors were empathetic, and they stood right there with me. Some of them are at my table: Greg, Josh, Kyle, Caroline, Cheryl. You guys felt the pain with me, and that's something that I never had until TreeHouse. You made me feel validated, cared for, and loved. Thank you. TreeHouse also taught me a lot of daily life skills. Before TreeHouse, I was very anxious and even kind of antisocial. TreeHouse helped me get out of my shell. When you start from nothing and you have no guidance or support from adults in your family life, you literally don't know anything. But TreeHouse was there for me. My mentors, Kyle, Josh, Greg, and Becky, helped me prepare for employment. They would role play with me as I was prepping for an interview. They would help me as I was filling out a job application and answered questions along the way. And that guidance helped me land my first job at Starbucks. I started 7 years ago as a teenager, and now I have a full-time job as the manager of a Starbucks on Grand Avenue in St. Paul. And my boss is back there somewhere. Recently, I was managing 2 stores at the time because I am a trusted and valued employee. I'm also pursuing my bachelor's degree in accounting at Arizona State. I have a home, health insurance, car, things I would have never dreamed of, all because TreeHouse scooped me up to let me know that I am lovable, capable, and worth a while. I am loved without strings, and I am never alone. I have a future. As I think about my teen years, many times the only safe refuge I had from my challenging exterior life was TreeHouse. It was the only lifeline I had. If I didn't have a safe place to be for the rest of the week, at least I knew that I had TreeHouse. The reason I'm here today is because of TreeHouse. I am truly grateful. Thank you. I should have brought a tissue.
Wow, thank you, Angie, for sharing with us. I'm going to need that too. We want to all acknowledge your bravery and the strength that it took a shy, young, introverted young lady, okay, to stand up in front of hundreds and hundreds of people to share your story. I myself and we thank God for you, and we thank God for your life. Okay, and we're so thankful you're here with us today. Thank you, thank you. You indeed have a future, like all of our teens, and we're so thankful that you're part of the TreeHouse family. Thank you for being here. I'm going to do that. Thank you. Sorry, that's what happens at TreeHouse. My name's Tim Clark, and I'm the president and CEO of TreeHouse here, and the staff, the volunteers, and our board welcomes you. I'd like to wish everybody here an early Happy Mother's Day. And we understand that the uniqueness of all of our stories, that we have unique feelings about what Mother's Day means, and we at TreeHouse stand beside you and support all of you in this weekend of Mother's Day. Angie and I are delighted that you've chosen to join us here today, and now we've got something special to do together, right? We are all part of the permanent and eternal and enduring TreeHouse family. We're part of a legacy as well as a future of TreeHouse. The work of TreeHouse simply could not be done without our beloved volunteers who give tirelessly to pour into love and support into our teens. You've heard from Angie about her mentors and staff at TreeHouse made a lasting impact on her life. Many of those mentors came back today specifically to support Angie. They've walked with her to encourage her into a life that she's living now, a university student, a young professional with a bright future, a bright hope, a light shining. Each year for the last 7, we have lifted up exceptional volunteers by giving the Becky Walker Women of Hope Award to an individual who exemplifies what it means to be consistently giving of one's time, talent, and treasures to love, support, and lift up our teens. It's named after my friend and predecessor, Becky Walker, who's over here to my right, in honor of her legacy of passionate leadership and deep love for TreeHouse teens. Today's volunteer award is lovingly presented to Cheryl Heger from the Bloomington TreeHouse. Cheryl, will you please come up and join us on stage? Cheryl has served for over 10 years, for more than 10 years at the Bloomington TreeHouse. She mentors young women like Angie by being a consistent and loving presence in their lives. When she was nominated by the Bloomington staff, they said Cheryl has been a faithful family member of the Bloomington TreeHouse by supporting our teens in anything they need. She is the very definition of when you need something, Cheryl will show up. Cheryl consistently shows up in many ways. In addition to mentoring, she supports fundraisers and enthusiastically recruits others to join her as a volunteer at TreeHouse. And as you've heard from Angie, she loves to feed our teens by prepping and serving meals. Cheryl, if I weren't so full from lunch, I'd go for a little of that mac and cheese right now. I may come over later. On behalf of TreeHouse, it's my pleasure to present to you with this award, the Becky Walker Volunteer of the Year Award. Yes. Thank you. We are all additionally reminded that the greatest reward of being a TreeHouse volunteer is witnessing how acts of unconditional love and support and hope truly impact lives, like the Angie's. Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, Angie, for being a part of this. Thank you. Speaking of impacting lives, Carlos Whittaker is someone who is a fierce, fierce champion of hope. We are in for a treat. Just like all of us at TreeHouse. Carlos, you've been on our radar for a number of years, okay? Because as many members of your Insta Familia, as you call it, are also part of the TreeHouse Familia, and I'm one of those. So we're very, very happy to be tracking and very happy to have blessed you be here tonight. Last night, Carlos joined us at the Bloomington TreeHouse, where as you heard, more than 100 teens were gathered on our monthly group Connect. And you heard from Mandy, Connect is a program night where we dive deeper into spiritual topics and we point to Jesus as the source of abiding hope. Carlos's energy and connection with our teens was something beautiful to witness. Carlos, as Mandy stated, Carlos did talk to our teens about killing spiders. Okay, but no, we're not talking about pest control. I'll let him explain, if he has time, what that means. I was struck by the deep and many questions the teens asked Carlos as part of his talk. And Jonah was the last young man to ask a question, and he asked Carlos how Carlos found his hope. And boy, what a great question and an answer, Carlos, that we're here to share to this today. When Carlos enters a room, he makes people feel seen, like he did with all our teens last night. His superpower is to create spaces, in person, online, and like he did last night with our teens, and where people are safe to engage in conversations and topics that matter the most, but are very often avoided. His motto, don't stand on issues, walk with people. Wow. His message of hope intersects beautifully with TreeHouse. It's my honor and privilege to introduce my new friend, Carlos Whittaker.
So good. All right. Where's Angie? Angie, as a keynote speaker, there's no reason I have to get up here. You were incredible. God has gifted you, and you're going to change the world. I mean, I literally looked at my manager, Jamie, at my table, and I was like, so why am I here? That was so powerful, and I'm just excited to watch you change the world. So good. Last night, I got to hang out with all these teens, and to be honest with you, I live with a bunch of teens, so the last thing I really wanted to do was show up in a room with a bunch of teens that were just going to judge me, not laugh at my jokes, all the things. But can I tell you what? Gosh, the hope that was in the room, and they were leaning in. Teenagers in 2023 are desperate for authenticity. They're desperate for hope. And what an incredible opportunity for us to come around and support TreeHouse is that's exactly what they're doing. It's exactly what they're giving. I appreciate the introduction. Many times people mispronounce my name, but it is Carlos. So I know I'm in Minneapolis, but could you just make me feel a little bit more at home and greet me with a good afternoon, Carlos? Minnesota. We're here. It's okay. It's okay. We're here. Listen, we're gonna dive in really quick. And if you, I do want to give a little props to Schuler Shoes for hooking me up here with these New Balance 990s. Listen, when I started seeing my daughters, like 18, 19, wearing New Balance shoes, did anyone else have the same reaction I had? I'm like, I grew up in the 90s. Only my dad wore New Balance shoes. But suddenly my kids are wearing New Balance shoes. And they're like, no, Dad, you got to. So I showed them these shoes last night. And they're like, oh, can I wear them? What size are they? So thank you, Schuler, for the shoes. Amazing. Okay, so we're going to talk for just a few minutes on this concept of what TreeHouse is actually doing right now, which is humaning well. And my talk is called How to Human. Everyone in the room say, how to human? Why would we want to talk about and lean into what it means to be human? I had one of the most human experiences in my life. You know, we all have these times where we face humanity face to face. A lot of times, those are difficult times. Sometimes those are embarrassing times. And there was a time in my life where my family and we were in Atlanta, Georgia, and we were driving to a Braves game. Now I got 3 kids. I think I got a photo of my this is my family. There's my daughter, Sayana, with the Bulls jersey on, my son, Losiah, my daughter, Sohail, over here, and then my wife, Heather. We've been married 23 years next month, so give her a round of applause. She pulled that off. So anyway, that's my family, and a couple years ago, we were in Atlanta, and we were driving to a Braves game. And a couple years ago, a lot more than, like 15 years ago. And that Beyonce song, All the Single Ladies, came on. You guys remember that song? All the Single Ladies? I mean, we still know that song. And so my kids start singing All the Single Ladies. And I had this human moment where I pulled my phone out. Now, this is 15 years ago. I can't remember what kind of phones we had 15 years ago. Like a BlackBerry, maybe. I don't know what it was. But I start filming my kids singing All the Single Ladies. And I told my son, who was like 2 years old at the time, because I thought I was being funny, hey, buddy, you're not a single lady. Well, he started screaming and crying. And I'm videoing this, and I'm thinking, oh, this is funny. I'm going to send this to my mom in L.A. But instead, my wife goes, you should upload that to that brand new website I just heard of called YouTube. Little did I know what this human moment would happen 24 hours later and how it would change the trajectory of my life. Watch this.
The Whittaker family of Atlanta was in the car just singing along to Beyonce's hit song, Single Ladies. And then the family fun took an unexpected turn.
Listen, you're not a single lady, buddy. Oh, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You're a single lady. Oh! Sorry. Listen, buddy, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. You can do it. Buddy, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, buddy. You're a single lady, okay? Okay? Here we go. If you like it and you get a better ring on it. Sorry.
Did that hurt your feelings? You can be a single lady if you want, okay?
I'm a horrible father.
Do you want to be a single lady?
I'm a horrible father, he says no.
Okay. Sure, you can give me a round of applause. Human moments. We all have them. We're not perfect. We're going to screw up as they're trying to do this human thing well. I mean, that's crazy. That video went viral, right? It went viral, and then we ended up that year getting flown from Atlanta to Los Angeles as a family, walked down a red carpet at the Staples Center, and on national television, Queen Latifah herself handed me and my family a Crystal People's Choice Award for Viral Video of the Year. I won a trophy for making my son cry. It was crazy. And I'll never forget the next morning looking at my wife after we won that trophy, and I was like, what is happening? Now remember, this was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, and I'll never forget what my wife said. She looked at me and she said, it's because you showed a mistake. And people are desperate for authenticity. That was 15 years ago. Imagine how much more now everyone we come in contact with, especially these teenagers, are desperate for truth and authenticity. It's what will deliver them hope. And so what we're going to do is 3 quick steps in the next 23 minutes on how we can human a little better. The first step is be human. Everyone in the room say, be human. Be human. Here's the thing. Before we can enter in and give somebody else hope, before we can be hope for somebody else, before we can be women of hope, this is called women of hope, but I see a lot of dudes in here, okay? So before all of us can be hope, we have to figure out the hope ourselves, and we have to be fully human. But can I tell you something? If there's something in 2023 that we have a hard time doing, it's being human. Why? Well, I don't want to blame something, but let's blame something. More people see the back of a phone case than they see our own eyes. And I think I was writing my book, How to Human, 2 years ago, and I looked at my screen time, and I was like, I'm actually writing a book called How to Human, and I am the least human I've ever been, like ever. And so I just started studying just sociology and things, and I realized that the average human being walks at 3 miles an hour. That's how fast I'm walking right now. That's really what I like to call God's speed. Jesus did his ministry at 3 miles an hour. Literally, this was the pace of Jesus' ministry. And we look at our lives and we start to ask ourselves, well, what in my life moves at 3 miles an hour? Probably not a whole lot. Even the pace at which I'm talking to you right now is driving you crazy. Get to the point, Carlos. Come on, hurry up. Oh, man. Listen, what if the way to get to the space where we can begin to have these hard conversations with each other, where we can begin to see the divisiveness in our country begin to shrink, isn't by loading ourselves with more information, by speeding up, but maybe by being more human and just slowing down. I saw it last night. I saw these leaders. I saw Brian with these students. And it was slow, and it was thoughtful. Arm around them, having conversations, face to face, slowing down, lowering the volume of life. I think I got a slide that says that. We must get back to 3 miles an hour. 3 miles an hour. Oh, trying to get one more here. This is something that I realized in studying for my next book. I don't believe that our souls and psyche were created for the speed we're going at, for the amount of content that we're consuming. I believe that we were created for a lot less. There's a study that actually shows that because we use these things as alarm clocks in the morning, The amount of content that an average American consumes the first 15 minutes they're awake is more content than my great-grandparents consumed in a month. In a month. Why? Well, because when we wake up, we got all these things waiting for us right here. So you know what I did? In order to be more human, I went to Target and I bought this really cool thing called an alarm clock. It's crazy. I plugged it in next to my bed. All it does is wake me up. I don't rub its face, and it doesn't make me angry about anything. Like that's it. And so I just started thinking, how can we be more human? Lower the volume of life. Slow down. When you lower the volume of life, I promise you, the volume of living explodes. My dad used to say it this way, Carlitos, when you lower the volume of life, the volume of God goes up. You want to hear the voice of God more? Lower the volume of life. Be more human. And I know it's hard. I know that it's difficult, especially with a bunch of high-capacity leaders that are in this room running things, and we got agendas, and we got all these things. When we slow down, we are going to be so much more human. So that's be human. Before we can deal with somebody else, give hope to somebody else, we got to find it ourselves. Lower it, slow down. I mean, let's see how this works. I would even say, I could make you even more uncomfortable than I just made you talking really slowly. You ready? That was 37 seconds. And y'all were freaking out. What was more impressive was how I got back up on the stage right now. I'm not going to lie. 37 seconds of silence. That may be the most human moment a lot of you have experienced in a long time. We don't know what to do that anymore, how to do that anymore. I'm telling you, to get to a space where we can have the capacity to deal hope to other people, we have to get back to the core and the root of how we are human. And that's just simply being still and knowing that He is God. Find that again. Be human. Step 1. Step 2. Everyone in the room say, see humans. This is it. Angie, your story. She was seen. This is it. This is the ticket. This is what TreeHouse does. They see humans. And it is the hardest thing for us to pull off, especially in 2023. Because the problem is the last few years, I know, it's gotten so hard to see each other. Why? Well, because now we see the things about each other that we don't even necessarily want to know. Right? Like, I don't want to know what my Aunt Glenda, who she voted for. I don't want to know that because it makes me not be able to stand her. But suddenly I know everything, and we know all this stuff about each other. And it's so hard to see each other that don't look like us, think like us, vote like us, love like us, all of the things like this. I'm telling you, it's hard, and I know it's hard, but it's necessary. It is necessary in order for us to fulfill this obligation of humaning well, to begin to see each other, to walk with people. I was introduced with it. Don't stand on issues, but walk with people. I say it all the time. That doesn't mean don't believe in issues. It just means don't stay so rooted that you can't have a conversation with somebody else that doesn't see the world like you. We've got to get back to the space where we can do that again. And if you're not, start practicing. And you know who you can practice with? You can practice with your own family. Because let me be honest, right now I still have all my kids live in my house. 17, 19, and 21. Not quite sure how that happened. But I have to practice this seeing human thing with them all the time. And I'll tell you what, the time that I really needed to practice it in my life, seeing people that I couldn't stand, was when my middle daughter, Sayana, went from 12 to 13. Oh my gosh. I've never experienced it before. And like, I'll remember one day, you know, she's 12 and I'd come home from her trip. She's like, Daddy, and she'd still like run up and wrap herself around my leg. Then she's turned 13. I'd come home and I was like, Daddy's home. She's like, hey, Dad. Wait, hey, Dad? No. Your prince is here. And then, hey, how was gymnastics? Fine. How was school? Fine, Dad. Oh, no. So she's on drugs, right? So I go in her room and I'm looking through all the drawers. I'm like, what in the world? My wife's like, she's not on drugs. She's just 13. I was like, I don't like 13. But you know what I needed to do? I needed to see her. And I wasn't seeing her. I was just seeing myself and my needs. So you know what I did? I did what every good dad should do. When you can't figure out your kid, I grabbed her phone and I started searching. What is she doing? What's she looking at? And I go on her YouTube history. And I saw that she had watched this video the day before of this young man winning a talent show flipping a water bottle. Have you ever seen these kids flip with water bottles? So, like, she's flipping the water bottle, and so I was like, she must be into this. I mean, I guess. So you know what I did? I went and I bought a water bottle. I came home, and while she wasn't, I started practicing. And I want to show you the video of this young man winning a talent show, flipping a water bottle, so you can see where our education system is in America. I'm sorry, that's not what I was going to say. But this is how he won. Watch this. It's like he hit the final three-pointer in the NBA Finals. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I start practicing, and I realize, it is more difficult than I thought. Okay, and he actually flipped it. He had one shot. He walked out kind of like a boss, waited for the music to cut. He landed it. So I was like, let me try it. So I downloaded that song, and I was like, let me see if I can do it to the song. Well, I couldn't. It was hard. So I was like, and I finally started getting it. So my daughter comes home, and I was like, hey, baby. I know I had to see her. How was school? Fine. How was gymnastics? Fine, Dad. Hey, babe, would you like to go in the backyard with Dad and flip a water bottle? Yeah, Dad. I'd like that. Oh, my gosh. I downloaded the song that the boy won the talent show to. What if we did a dual father-daughter water bottle flip at the same time? Oh, yeah, Daddy, I'd love that. She called me Daddy that time. We go outside, and let me show you how I saw my daughter. Watch this.
We did it! We're the champion! Father-daughter water flippers! We love you guys! Thank you for cheering us on!
Who is more excited, the father or the daughter? And I saw her. So we have this moment. We walk back inside. My heart's pounding out of my chest. And she goes back to her room, and I sit down on the sofa, start watching the news or something. 5 minutes later, My daughter comes walking out of her room, walks up to the sofa, and plops down right next to me and digs her head in my armpit just like she did it when she was 12 and a half. And I'm literally like holding my breath, right? Because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to move. And I got her back for about 2 minutes. Then she left again. But I got her back. And why did I get her back? Because I saw her. I got out of my comfort zone, and I went and I saw her. This is what TreeHouse does. They see these students every week, and they go up to them. And this is what we've got to do every day. So I know culture feels like it's getting even more divided. I promise you, we're this close. My dad used to say, I got a lot of stories about my dad. He used to say, Carlitos, if a ship is 1 degree off course, in 10 miles, it feels like you're going in the same direction. But in 100 miles, you're 10 miles from your destination. I feel like we're just 1 degree off. The world isn't falling apart. It's been a lot worse, I promise you. Course correct. 1 degree. Be human. See humans. Lower the volume of life. Slow down, and we're going to start to get it again. That's step 2. But the last step, I think, is the most important step, which, I got a couple of videos I got to skip. I'm running out of time here. Free humans. Everyone in the room say free humans. Free humans. Here it is. This, I keep pointing at you, my future keynote speaker. But you're the perfect example of this. Freedom has been given because you were seen. And you are now giving other people freedom because you're seeing them. The next step is literally freeing people. The power of influence in this room to free teens all across this country, literally, I'm seeing it. It's just like a wave that can happen in here this afternoon. But how do we free people? What do we do? Well, we have to risk a little bit. We've got to risk something of ourselves in order for someone else to find freedom. And I saw this happen firsthand. And I see it happen all the time with, I do call my Instagram family my Insta Familia. Is there any Insta Familia in the house? We got a few of you guys. Yeah! The Insta Familia. And let me tell you how they free people. I was in the Atlanta airport about 1.5 years ago. And I was moving from, I was flying back home, and I was going up the escalator, Terminal A. If you've ever been to the Atlanta airport, the escalators are like 40 stories tall. Like, they're so tall. So I get to the very top, and I'm really hungry. I'm like looking, I land in the food court up there, and there's like a Chick-fil-A, a pizza place. And I remember going straight to Chick-fil-A, and I'm in line, and I heard this man playing the piano. And so he's playing the piano. He's going to town playing the piano. And I look over to him. He's, just kind of like an airport piano guy. And he is given literally the concert of his life, and no one's looking at him. Everyone's on their phones, or everyone's talking to each other. No one's paying attention. And I was like, I'm writing this book called How to Human, Be Human, See Humans. Let me go see him. So I felt so proud of myself. I walked over there with my Chick-fil-A. I pulled up a chair right next to his piano bench, like probably socially awkwardly too close. And I'm just like, and this man's like, finally, he stops in the middle of the song, and he goes, "What you doing, man?" And I was like, "Oh, I just want to see you. Sorry, I just want you to know that, like, I see you, man. You're so good." He goes, "What's your name?" I go, "Well, my name's Carlos. What's your name?" He's like, "My name's Tony, man." I was like, "Tell me about yourself, Tony." He goes, "Oh, I got kidney disease. So, like, I'm on dialysis 9 hours a night, but I come to the airport every day because it makes me feel alive. It gives me hope to play my piano." I was like, "Man, well, you're amazing." And here's the thing. I was like, freedom. I'm going to give him some freedom, right? I got to free him. I go, I'm going to give him a big tip. He only had like $15 in his jar. So I had $40 in my pocket. And I was like, watch this. "Hey, Tony, what's the biggest tip you've ever gotten?" He goes, $400. I was like, dang it. I don't have it. "Oh, but wait. I have the Insta Familia." So I pulled out my phone, and I sat one table away, and I started streaming live on my Instagram. And I said, "Hey, I got 30 minutes before my next flight. What do you think we give Tony some freedom this afternoon. And the money started pouring in, and 30 minutes later, well, let me just show you what happened. Watch this.
Back now with our play of the day, a feel-good Friday. Carlos Whittaker was enjoying lunch when the piano player captured his attention, noticing there was not a lot of money in his tip bowl, even though he was playing his heart out. Well, the two started talking, and it turns out that 66-year-old Tony plays piano every day, then gets dialysis every night. So Carlos had an idea to call on his Instagram followers for some tips for Tony's playing, and the money kept pouring in.
Yeah.
And take a look at what happened next.
They just deposited $10,000. 170,000 strangers that loved your piano playing, and I asked them to give you money. You are loved. Come on, man. You are loved, you are adored, and I don't know what you need to do with $10,000, but it's yours.
Wow. And since then, Carlos said his followers have raised more than $60,000 for Tony's playing. And I gotta say, Carlos Whittaker, you and your Instagram followers, you get the Best Humans award for this Friday. That's an amazing story.
That is a great Friday story.
Beautiful. Yeah. We needed that.
We needed it. Sure.
Be human, see humans, free humans. Be human, see humans, free humans. It ended up being, after 24 hours, $78,000. Tony stopped playing the piano at the airport. But then he went back because he loves it, right? And the biggest thing, here's a crazy thing. I don't get to tell this part of the story a lot. $78,000. Tony actually passed away last year of kidney disease. Before he passed away, he had given $65,000 of that back to the American Kidney Foundation. You see, when you find freedom, you want to free other people. When you do this, you want to give it on. You want to continue to pass it on. And I promise you, what you deposit into the lives of these teenagers today is going to get deposited into their families and then into their families. And literally cycles of generational issues can be broken because of the freedom that we give. So I'll end with this, because I want you to see a visual of what I believe this can look like. You know, when you be human, see humans, free humans, be human, see humans, free humans, sometimes it can feel like some sort of equation, but you're going to mess up. Yeah, but you're going to try to free somebody and you're going to offend them. You may get canceled. Who knows? Right? I've offended people. I've got canceled, like all the things, but it doesn't mean we stop trying. And I think visually it's going to look like this. My family and I, we were camping in the High Sierras a few years ago. And my wife, we'd put the kids in the kid tent. So little marriage hack here. When you go camping, kid tent, mommy, daddy tent. Game changer. It's awesome. So the kids in the kid tent, I'm trying to get mommy in the mommy, daddy tent. So I'm by the campfire, wine, putting the moves on, all the things. And she's not having it, right? She stops me and she goes, "Hey, can you look at the stars in the sky?" I was like, "Okay, yeah." She's like, there was thousands of stars in the sky. It was beautiful. She goes, "Can you go grab the camera and take a photo so we can remember this evening?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that." But I walked over and I picked up her fancy. She's had one of those fancy cameras. Actually, tell me your name again. Lauren, walk over here. Like a camera like Lauren's. Okay, lift it up. She had one of those. Okay. Now I don't know how to use that camera, but that's the kind of camera my wife had. We just bought it. So when you don't know how to use a fancy camera, what mode do you put the camera on? Well, auto mode, right? Of course. So I put it on auto mode. There's like 30,000 stars in the sky. See if I can get here. And this is the photo I took. So I walked back over to my wife, and I was like, "Hey, babe, how's this?" And she goes, "Do you know how expensive that camera was? I've seen on Instagram. I know it can take a photo of all the stars." I said, "But I don't know how to do it." She goes, "I know you don't know how, but don't you have a friend that does?" And now, like, the romantic moment's completely over, and I'm texting my professional photographer friends in Nashville. I'm like, "Hey, man, Heather's trying to get me to take a photo of all the stars, but I only got like 13 stars. Like, can you help me?" And Jeremy, my friend, goes, "Is the camera in auto mode?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh." Like Yoda himself, he goes, "You cannot capture the abundance of stars in auto mode. It has to be in manual mode." And I was like, "I know, but I don't know how to do manual mode." He goes, "I know you don't know, and I'm going to tell you how, and you're going to screw it up. But if you keep trying, you're going to get it. First, you have to find the ISO and crank the ISO from 100 to 12,000. Man, it took me 15 minutes to find the ISO. Finally found the ISO. I cranked it up. It was completely white. I said, that didn't work. You're not done yet. Now you have to find the aperture, which is also called the f-stop. And you have to crank that from 8.2 to 1.2 so the iris gets really big and all the light can invade the sensor. Now I'm 30 minutes in. My wife is asleep in mommy-daddy tent. And I keep taking pictures, and now it's black. And I was like, it's still not working. He's like, you're not done yet. Now you have to find the shutter speed and slow the shutter speed down from 1/30th of a second to 30 seconds so the shutter can stay wide open. All the light can invade the sensor. But if that's the case, you can't hold the camera. You have to put it on a tripod. Then you have to download a remote trigger to go on your phone. And I just want a freaking picture of the stars. And I tried it, and I failed. And I tried it, and I failed. And I tried it, and I failed. And 1 hour and 20 minutes later, I took a photo. And this was the photo that I got. Can I tell you something? This is what the life of these teenagers is going to look like when we do this human thing well. This is what your lives are going to look like when you get off of auto mode and you start living in manual mode. But so many of us are like walking around going like, look at my 13 stars. Like, how awesome is life? And I'm here to tell you, literally, if you be human, see humans, and free humans, you're going to go from this, and you're going to start living like this. And this is what today is all about. This is the opportunity we have today to start allowing so many kids their lives to look like this. And to help us with that, we've got our dear friend, Avery, coming up right now. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Carlos. That was very, very, very inspiring. Awesome. I'm deeply touched by your call for all of us to be, see, and free humans. Our unrelenting pursuit of hope for all people is exactly why we are here today. Hello, everyone. I'm Avery Benson, and I'm from Eagan, Minnesota TreeHouse. When the very first Women of Hope happened 20 years ago, I was in preschool, reciting nursery rhymes and learning the alphabet. And now here I am today in front of all of you, and a lot of change can happen in the course of 2 decades. From an early age, I had great clarity that I wanted to spend my life speaking hope into young people. I'm the oldest of a family of 3 daughters, and unfortunately, when I was in college, my 13-year-old sister passed away from cancer. But because of her passing, I'm daily reminded that none of us know just how long we have. And there are simply too many people who feel unseen, unheard, and unloved. As a follower of Jesus and a trained TreeHouse staff, I know that every single person on this earth has a purpose. That knowledge is the fuel that keeps me engaged in the lives of TreeHouse teens. As a relatively new member of TreeHouse, I've experienced the breadth and depth of the TreeHouse training, the kind that Mandy described earlier. I feel confident, I feel capable, I feel strongly equipped as I work with teens to direct them towards a hope-filled future. You've already heard just how powerful our one-to-one mentoring sessions are for every TreeHouse site. I am currently mentoring a 12-year-old girl named Abby, who, like myself, is biracial. And it's a very, very meaningful point of connection. We are both beautifully brown. Her father is in treatment for alcoholism, and her mom lives in another state, unfortunately, where she chose to live with a different partner. Abby's been in and out of mental health care facilities throughout her childhood, and recently I actually had a one-to-one with Abby where she told me that she actually feels more optimistic about the future since attending TreeHouse, which is so meaningful as a staff. She feels hopeful, she feels joy now, and TreeHouse gives her a sense that she is not alone. I hope each of us understands that as well as we're here together today in community. Angie, it was an honor, seriously, to hear you speak and share similar feelings that you experienced while you were at TreeHouse. It gives me encouragement to continue to mentor Abby and give her genuine connection and love that every one of us deserves. Hope, joy, not being alone, those are truly powerful truths to embrace. And I stand here today because of the success of TreeHouse and the Women of Hope these past 20 years. 20 years? That's amazing. And I'm excited and emboldened to imagine a future where TreeHouse will be in the next 20 years to come. I stand here today as the future of TreeHouse. At this time, I invite all table hosts to pass out the pledge cards from the large envelope on your table. You may choose to use a card to fill out your donation or write a check, or you may use the QR code on the back of your program for direct access to give. You've learned a lot about TreeHouse today. Who we are, how we work, where we operate, and who we impact. As you reflect on your personal capacity to give, please consider the tangible ways that your money goes to work for teens in real ways. $10,000 keeps one of our 12 passenger vans on the road for 1 year to provide free transportation so that it's not a barrier for teens and their families. And I can personally say that this is a huge, huge point of connection for teens in the vans. We listen to songs when we go on trips and all tons of fun things. So I tell you, the best of conversations happen there, and if those vans could speak, oh my goodness. So who wants to help me fund my TreeHouse van for the year? You know, I drive her a lot. Actually, my van's name is Vandy. The teens named her. So yes. $10,000 also allows us to develop and distribute our annual curriculum to each site and teen across the nation. $5,000 supports our TreeHouse Next curriculum and activities that enable our teens to look ahead and plan for their post-high school futures, which we all know is extremely valuable. Travel costs for at least 5 TreeHouse leaders to come to Minnesota to be trained in person is also possible through a $5,000 gift, allowing them to do TreeHouse at our local sites located right here in the Twin Cities. $2,500 provides one teen anywhere access to everything TreeHouse has to offer in one given year. That's our peer support groups, our one-to-one mentoring sessions. So when I communicate with teens and go out and do fun things, things like that. Trips, we take trips, activities, community service, and mission trips. Many of these offerings are weekly, so $2,500 is really a bargain. A gift of $2,500 also provides the resources to develop, write, distribute a new topic of curriculum to be used across the nation, and $1,000 assists in covering the costs of youth outings, creating opportunities to bring peers together, allowing them to have fun and a safe time and a safe space to bond and build friendships, confidence, and other qualities that some of our teens really yearn to harness but struggle to find for themselves. Coaches like Mandy would benefit from a $1,000 donation, allowing them to visit sites, whether nearby or far away, to support each TreeHouse site and leader in personalized ways. $500 is the cost to recruit, onboard, train, and equip each volunteer to support our teens. Our volunteers are truly, truly, truly extraordinary, and they make a huge difference in our teens' lives. We're so grateful for them. Tim reminds us that it is a somewhat of a math equation. More equipped volunteers means more teens that can be served. And $300 affords mentors the opportunity to take their teens out for dinner or coffee on occasion, one of my favorites. You know, coffee's pretty nice to have with teens, to spend focused and uninterrupted time with them. As a mentor myself, I can tell you that it's such a valuable time to spend teens to spend with teens on one-to-ones. $300 also provides TreeHouse site leaders with their own support group experience. The good news is we have a running start. Some faithful longtime members of the Women of Hope Sisterhood have already given to our 20th anniversary legacy campaign, driven by their desire to motivate, inspire each of us to give to our deepest capacity. This dedicated group of families is already leading the way, giving more than $200,000. But the need, yes, woo! Thank you. But the need is great, and I'm inviting each of you to get involved. You've heard many stories, including mine with Abby, that give directly to our teens and impact their lives in deep, deep ways that are so meaningful. So please give generously. It's easy to give electronically. Simply open the camera on your smartphone and scan the QR code that is provided. It's on the screens on the back of your program as well, and on the large envelope found on each table. Response cards handed out earlier are also available if you'd like to do it through that way. And if you prefer to do it manually, we also have table hosts too. Please place any completed cards and checks back in the large envelopes. Table hosts, TreeHouse staff members will come around to collect your large envelopes in a few moments. I ask you, women and men of hope, please listen to the prompting of your hearts as you consider making a gift to TreeHouse today. Thank you so much for being here and being together. Awesome.
Guys, thank you. Take a picture. Look at us. Well, yeah, I go back to Becky Walker, sweet Becky Walker. She invited me Are we ready?
Then you flip it. So I'll just say that. Well, I mean,
want
we
to?
can just skip to yours.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for your generosity. Avery, we have another keynote speaker here, Carlos, I think. You did a fabulous job. Thank you for all you're doing for TreeHouse. We really appreciate it. And we have now come to the portion where we shall draw for the winners of the various raffles. Are you ready, Avery? We're going to start with the winner of the Hoping to Hit the Beach basket. And TreeHouse staff will bring you the prize, so just raise your hand where you are.
All right.
And we're going to read the number.
All righty. 303616. You can scream if you want.
We've got a winner over there. Awesome. Next up, the winner of the Restorative Hope Basket is...
All righty. 303658.
that one?
Oh, we got it over there. Woo! Very Minnesotan response. All right, the winner of the Planting Hope basket is?
Oh, this is awesome. You know what? Let me,
Oh.
303588.
There we go.
Woo!
And finally, the winner of the Baskets of Hope basket is?
I'm going to go to the way bottom.
Ooh, a blue one.
380954.
Excellent. Over here? All right. Did we get one?
Was that someone's ticket?
Oh, over here. Okay, congratulations. Thanks for contributing through the raffle. We appreciate it. Thank you, dear. All right, we want to remind you, Carlos will be in the lobby signing his books, How to Human. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. What a wonderful message. Thank you, Carlos. Let's give him a final round of applause, as well as the committee members for Women of Hope. Thanks for spending some of this beautiful day with us. We appreciate you. We hope you have a blessed day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the house. We appreciate you. We hope to see you next year, Friday, May 10th, for the 21st Women of Hope Luncheon. Thanks so much for coming, everybody.